Since I've been here since July 22nd, 2002, it's been now a year since I haven't seen my family. And so I'm trying to, obtain a full-time job opposed to a part-time. I don't get vacation time, so I can go home and spend it with my family. And that's my big issue right now because it's like I'm a family person. I love my mama so much. I mean, that's just a big part of me right now. And I mean, I still go to church once in a while.
To lose my kids because the backward state of Wisconsin saw me as this abomination from hell. No fit parent for any children, right? And so I lost my rights to see the kids. And it was terrible and horrible for me. There was times for a good number of years that even just the mention of it would make me break out and cry.
A little bit of my history. What do you mean by my history? I was born in Dominican Republic. My name is Xristina Rodriguez. I'm a 20-year-old Latina transgender, identify as male to female. I was born biologically male, and I had to play the male role. But I never looked when I was younger, I still looked like a female, Some people say, well, you chose to be a transgender. I didn't choose it. It wasn't given to me. It wasn't handed down from generation to generation. Basically, it's just the way I view life. It's the way I define me.
I knew that I was different at the age of 3. And I had been born with the name Michelle. It's the same name that I use now. Even my middle name, which is Erin, E-R-I-N, which is a girl's name. That's the name I was born with. I remember my relatives coming over and talking to my mother, and I said, well, why did you name him Michelle? And it says, well, we wanted a girl because my older brother, was firstborn male, and that's all my dad cared about, and so they wanted a girl, and they got me. And so I went to the priest when I was in the 4th grade, and I went to him in confessional, and I told him, the way I felt. And I was expecting some kind of counseling. I was expecting some kind of conviction, or that he was going to tell my parents even, And instead he said, we'll say 15 Hail Marys and 10 Our Fathers and 4 acts of contrition. And that was it. Or, I'm just like a little kid. I don't know what to do with these big, feelings, of questioning of gender and sex and preferences of things like that. What do I do with that?
A lot of people view transgenders as one who hasn't done the surgery, where transgender could be anything. Like one who hasn't taken the pills, one who has done the surgery or hasn't. It's just basically where you fall at, where you see yourself as.
They have what they call the Benjamin Standards of Care. And that is a format of certain things that any trans person must follow, particularly, M to Fs, male to female. And that is that you live entirely in that role for a year before you're even eligible for surgery. When you've lived in your desired gender for that year, you're able to get your surgery with verification from a therapist and a doctor. Prior to those years, though, some of the girls would just say, I'm a girl, okay, do surgery on me. And some of them would get it done as long as they had the money. Doctors didn't care. Surgery was very risky in those days, and a lot of them just basically got holes cut into them. And, where there wasn't any more than 2 or 3 inches, and their sexual activity was, at best, less than adequate. Some of them, committed suicide, because they didn't have the year to come adjusted to what it's like, because that is a big physical, yes, mental and emotional change, huge.
I started my transitioning process, I would say It's been a year and 3 months when I started hormones. Surgery itself costs $28 and up. So I mean, and some more. And right now, currently, since I'm saving a lot of money, I have like $5 and something. You know, it's like once you go through the surgery, it's a real big step because you shouldn't do it just to satisfy others. You should try to satisfy more yourself. You should focus on, am I sure I want this? Or do I want it just to satisfy my partner, whomever they may be? I mean, I noticed that a lot of us transgenders, I don't want to say we blend in with the crowd because a lot of females, they think, oh, you know, when you have that drag queen trying to be a girl or like crossdresser or transvestite, you know, try to be like girls, but, you know, they can't quite cut it. You know, that's the way a lot of females see it as. But it's not that we're trying to, you know, it's not how we perceive them, it's how we perceive ourselves. So basically, what I'll try to do is like, I got lost. I mean, I've been offered to, like, you know, work in HSF or, you know, to work with some of my girls, my clients at the streets. But then again, it's, you know, it's something that I don't want myself. I just want to, like, create a new stereotype, which will be a positive, of course. And, you know, I just want to bring it to the community. Be like, oh, wow, she's young and she's doing all this positive stuff. And the Lord will bless you with a lot of blessings. You just got to know how to accept him. You got to know how to work with him. Like, he could open so many doors, and you just got to, unlock it. You just go in, walk in.
All right. Que vivan las chaparritas. Okay, now we have Latin Jazz by Michelle Garcia. And she is a Latin jazz artist who was once signed with Elektra Records and was crowned Miss Transgender San Francisco 2000, performing 3 selections from her Spanish Traveler CD, along with Beverly Steele on percussion and Woodwitz on guitar.
I appreciate you guys coming out tonight and celebrating the International Queer Arts Festival. We should do this more often than once a year, right?
I'd always tried to maintain this macho kind of, you know, guy image because that was my cover. In high school, I was a 4-year letterman. You know, I went out for sports and I played basketball for 4 years and varsity and ran track and cross country. And during the football season, I was cheerleader. You know, I began cross-dressing when I was 8 years old and made love as a girl to my first guy when I was 13. I didn't make love my first woman as a guy until I was 19 years old. As a teen, there was no information out there to give me any kind of validity of what I was doing, where I was. You know, I considered myself a freak. When I was 17, I met my first post-op transsexual woman. And it was like, whoa, this is so cool. It's like, yes, it can be done. Somebody I can relate to, you know. I was fighting to be this normal person that society wanted me to be, that my parents wanted me to be, and I had this other element that said that I am absolutely a woman, that I totally identify with being, you know, a woman and as a girl, and that's what I wanted, you know, and that was where my sexual preference was. My last stab at trying to be quote-unquote normal, I thought, well, you know, if I got married and if I had children, you know, then I think that I could hold that as sacred and it would make me, you know, normal. Wrong!
Yeah. For me to trust a man is really difficult because I just realized also that men do stick their thing in anywhere they can. And at first I didn't think that was true, but you know what? These men that are very good looking, that I dating, then conceited little bastards, they just want to fuck. And, you know, they're not really into relationships, like I said. They just, you know, basically when they see me, they think, damn, her body is fine. I want to just take that and make a note about her, basically, like you did in high school. Or jot down what females you slept with. But you see, like, the emotions us females, we get a little bit more agitated, and we get a little bit cranky and PNSD. We get, like, frustrated. We're like, oh my God, we become a nervous wreck. Everyone has their perspective on people, you know. It's like, oh, well, this is my image on transgender. This is what I'm used to seeing. But, you know, it's like a lot of them hasn't seen a further on transgender. Like, you have your different transgender ones, again, that look very manly, and you have ones that are very passable, as you'll call females. And it's like the crying game. I mean, you had one that had curly hair, and she had no boobs, but was identifying as female. And then the guy, he fell for her in the end. Whatever. He's like, he made out with her, and he finally accepted her for who she is. And that's basically what I view all transgender want. It's acceptance. Like, a child or a dog, they'll love you, self-love. They'll love you just looking at you. They don't see oh, that's a man. They don't judge. You feel me? And it's like, that's one thing a lot of transgender go through, is that you have to be judged harshly.
So we've been hanging out. How did we kind of like hook up in that kind of a way? It was just like when I transitioned, which was like almost 10 years ago. I thought, God, this really sucks, because it's so hard in the very beginning just to be by yourself. And I thought, geez, it would have been really nice if I had a big sister when I was transitioning. And so with her and I, it was better. We had, of course, we're both Latina and everything, and I'm really pretty, and she's pretty too.
Oh, come on,
Nah.
I would say it's more our spiritual, because we're very spiritual ladies, and I don't know, it's just, I guess we had that good vibe, the sisterly vibe, and
right.
First we became like best friends, and
she's come over to my house a couple of times, and we just have like a little slumber party and stuff, and it was fun.
And then we have our sister talk, where we just get to talk about anything, like girl talk and stuff. So that's what we have it. We call it our sister talk.
That's right.
This is me on a bad hair day. Was that a beer? I was like, no! No, I'm kidding. I told him, yeah. I was like, I have beer. I didn't shave my beard. I prefer him to know than not to know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's because I didn't shave.
Right. Well, I can't believe you didn't do that. You went out on a date.
I had to let him know. If I
look, that was the way to let him know?
Yes, because of course.
Is that
okay. Honey, I'm lazy at times.
Gee,
I'm like, fuck all that shit. Well,
I'm
like, oh, fuck all that, okay? First off, I'm getting sick and tired of dating all these guys, and then I have to lecture them and educate them,
oh, hey,
and
listen,
etc.
How about the scenario of going to your therapist who doesn't know anything, and then you have to teach your therapist what transgender is all about, but you have to pay him at the same time. Now, is that screwed up or
that
what?
Is screwed up.
Oh, that is screwed
that's fucked up.
It is. It really is fucked up.
Shit.
Exactly. I did that in the earlier days. Oh my God, when there was nobody that was around that had any idea. Well, what's your problem? Well, what's that mean? Well, I don't know. Well, okay. Well, and after you teach me, give me $100. Every time that I had been cross-dressing as a woman since I was 8-year-old, I gave up my male privilege. And people think that sometimes look at that beautiful woman, or how glamorous she gets to be, and this and that. But society treats women like shit for the most part, And even today's modern women, after transitioning for 10 years, I certainly don't have the depth that genetic women have, but I certainly do have an understanding and have felt the implications of that kind of self-righteous male privilege, prejudiced, over somebody that is, well, she's a woman or she's a girl, don't expect her to know anything, and I get that, even from other women, it's like, because sometimes genetic women look at trans women in a way like, well, she's trans, what else could she know except how to, put her nail polish on,
or have sex.
Or, all she's good for is excuse the expression, sucking cock, That's all they're good for, And it's so far from the truth. It is so far from the truth. But that's the way that we are raised, in the sense of a little bit of typical prejudice, But I think that, you know, to answer your question of male privilege, yeah, I gave it up. Do I miss it? I don't. A little bit. You know, a little bit. I would say that I do, in the sense of getting the kind of recognition. You know, because we all want a sense of pride in who we are, and hey, wait a minute, I got a voice. I can say something about that. You go, no, you're a girl, you're a woman. You know, you don't have any voice. You know, you have to say you're a trans woman. You don't even. You know, we're not interested in your opinion. You know, just go suck some cock or something.
Make some money. Do what you're worth. I do hesitate to tell people about me being a transgender, and it's like, I mean, I will tell them eventually, but it's like at first, you know, I'm like really, I'm hesitating. But like the way things played out for her was so different. I mean,
How did you think about the way she?
I mean, like I read in the
died?
that's what I'm thinking about. Like, and what I read in the article was more like she got. He says the part where the guys felt on her genitals. You know, they hit her with a skillet or a frying pan. They didn't know what the hell it was, but it was either or. And then she was bleeding, blood gushing down her face. And I'm thinking, God, you know, that could have been anyone. Don't even have to be transgender. Exactly. So once she got up, and, you know, she stood by the wall, you know, trying to catch her balance or something. Then one of the guys, I guess, he punched her and then kneed her in the face. I mean, what is it? They left a dent on the wall? No.
What she's leaving out, though, is after all of that happened, the community came to Xristina to ask her if she would be a spokesperson for the Bay Area as a transgendered Latina youth, the way that Gwen Araujo was. And Xristina stepped up to the plate. You know, she went right in front of the news cameras and the press and everybody, and, you know, told them the way she felt.
A 17-year-old Newark teen was buried today the way that he lived, as a female. Police say that Eddie Araujo, a transgender, was killed by partygoers who found out that Araujo was biologically male.
Prosecutors allege he was murdered at a party earlier this month by 3 men in a fit of homophobic rage.
They came to say goodbye to the 17-year-old boy who also went by the name Gwen. He had chosen to live as a girl for most of his life.
Both Elaine and Xristina are horrified about the brutal murder of 17-year-old Eddie Araujo, who identified as a girl and went by the name of Gwen. They feel they can relate in ways many people cannot.
I try to place myself again in her position. I keep picturing the blows she was receiving, the blood that she was spilling.
20-year-old Xristina Sands has a very similar background to young Araujo. Both young minorities, both biologically male, and both feeling like women trapped inside men's bodies.
I mean, I'm human too, and I do bleed red blood just like everyone else. Because I didn't hear it through television. What I heard it through was a friend.
When I heard of Gwen's death, I asked myself a question. Some questions. How much more pain? How many more tears? How many more families like Gwen's
I would
family
also like to
lose?
challenge the media. If you say that you were a journalist, why don't you fucking do some research?
About myself. I feel good about myself. I'm a wonderful human being.
It's a tough life being a transgender.
Probably is, because we know what it's like to have jobs taken away, and, to lose all our stuff, and, to just try and keep a good attitude with all that. I think you have to be a pretty amazing person.
I decided to really step up and just take care of business.
My name is Michelle Garcia. Here's a song that I wrote, and I changed the words a little bit because Gwen's death and the movement of coming together here in the city for things like this tend to really move us all in our own spirit. And this one's dedicated to Gwen and everybody here, or anyone who knows a transgender person and has lived with that within their family. It's called Got a Reason to Live. Don't cross that line, he said, or you'll end up crying or dead. But there's just so much one can take when your whole life's at stake. With your back to the wall, you wait for the car. you already know that this time